You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. It's good to be here with you this afternoon. You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. We have been here now for 12 years and feeling refreshed after being on vacation for 3 weeks. Happy to be back with you. Today we got another exciting show for you. We're going to have our own Dr. Julianne Malvo to talk about politics. And then after our commercial break, I'm going to have my granddaughter, Lola Sky Bellis. I want to say hi to Lola. She is Miss Preteen Grand Canyon, Arizona. And she has a body positivity message. And that's the Miss America pageant, but she and her mother both were in the D.C. pageant. Tanika and Lola were in the pageant, and they both won some categories. So, hi, Lola.
Hi.
All right. We're going to talk to Lola after the commercial. And then now, Dr. Julianne Malvo. I'm so happy to have you back, Dr. Julianne. She is a nationally known economist, and she is a dean at Cal State Los Angeles, one of 2 president emerituses at Bennett College in North Carolina. They named the communications building after her, and I'm so excited about that. So she's a world traveler, speaker, and president of Push Excel at the Rainbow Coalition. That's a youth organization founded by Reverend Jesse Jackson in Chicago. Welcome back today, Dr. Julianne. Let's talk politics.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, welcome back to you. I'm glad you took some much-needed time to rest, and your listeners should take a page from your book. We all have to basically both do our best, but also rest our best. And so I commend you for that. I'm telling you, but I haven't taken a vacation. I don't know when. But you're inspiring me.
All right. Anyway, I hope you'll do it.
Let's talk politics. Let's talk about, girls, there's so much to talk about. But let's start with the headlines were flying on Wednesday. President Biden announced that he will do student loan forgiveness. People have been on him about this. It was a campaign promise that he had not yet kept until August 24th, Wednesday, when he said he was going to do it. $10,000 for everyone who is carrying student loans now, if they're federal loans. Some people have private loans and other loans. That doesn't count. If you have a federal loan, you will be forgiven $10,000. If you have a federal loan and you also had a Pell Grant, that means that you were at the bottom end of the income distribution. You get $20,000 off your loan bill. Now, a lot of people say it's a step in the right direction. It's not enough, but it's a step in the right direction. I know lots of people who, when I was at Bennett, I'd look at the young ladies and look at what they owed as they were graduating, and some of them $80,000. So 20 will help, but they still have a lot more to pay back. Now, the more important thing in this legislation is that it will cap your student loan repayment to 5% of your income. So right now, Black people in particular, Black women in particular, have higher student loan repayment rates, some paying as much as $300, $400, $500 a month. Well, those are the people who can't afford to buy a home, cannot afford to save for retirement. And so capping their loan payment at 5% of their income means if you make $100,000, you're capping that at, basically $5,000 a year. But dig this: if you're a typical teacher, average teacher makes about $60,000 a year. So you talk about 5% of that, you're talking about $3,000. So you see a big difference for a lot of people with the income cap. I think the income cap issue is as important as a student loan forgiveness, but we're not hearing as much about it as we are about the forgiveness. Now, of course, crazy people are crazy people. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, hit the airwaves and said she didn't think it was fair for working class plumbers to pay for people's Ivy League education. Of course, she majors in the hyperbole. Most of the people who get student loans do not have Ivy League educations. Many of them are like my students. They're going to state universities, They're going to HBCUs. They're not getting hired, but she plays the politics of class warfare. So she wants to make it look like we're taking something from somebody else. And I say we because I got a school with student loans too. Of course, I paid mine back a long time ago, but I'm just saying those student loans are very important. Now, what the other thing, Marjorie Taylor Greene has the nerve to talk. She did not pay back, Lyndia, almost $200,000 in pay back PPP, the COVID.
That's right.
She
got it free. They gave her a free pass.
Yeah. So she's talking about students forgiving student loan debt. She didn't have a problem when they forgave her debt. So, this is the hypocrisy that we see with these people. But in any case, it is what it is, and we all are aware. And that woman just needs to be needs to be retired. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. Well, it might. There's a young man named Marcus Flowers running against her in Georgia. And he's a very interesting young man. So I encourage people to check him out. Just Google him. Check him out. He deserves our support. He's an Army vet, and he is running against Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, today we heard from Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed. He's at the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium. They've been doing this every year since 1982, and basically the Fed is there and other economic stakeholders are there. He said earlier today, that inflation is here to stay. Well, not here to stay, but it's going to be around for a while. He also indicated that interest rates are going to continue to go up. And he basically asserted that this has caused the stock market, when it closed, it was down significantly by about 300 points. And I left the office it may have gone down even more. But all of the economic indicators were down. Because this is, when he said that, it's bad news for many people to say, well, inflation is here to stay, interest rates are going up. That's problematic. So it does raise questions about are we in a recession or not? What does it mean? What we do know is that the labor market is tight, but what does that tightness mean? I mean, a lot of employers say they can't find workers, but guess what? I bet you can find them if you paid them. These people were saying they can't find workers. If they're paying people $15 an hour, make it 18, make it 20. And maybe you can find some workers. The third thing, of course, everybody's talking about the teacher shortage. And I would say this about the teacher shortage. It's not new. It's been happening every year. It's not new. And you could do better by teachers by paying them better as well. So, the top of the news is, there's a teacher shortage. Some states are going, or some cities are going to a 4-day work week for teachers as an incentive, but that means kids are going to have less time in the classroom. Some places are having people as inexperienced as high school graduates, no college degree, teaching in classrooms. That doesn't make any sense either. And it really does marginalize the teaching profession. Remember, it is a profession. So, but the teacher shortage is in the news, and yes, it's in the news, and we're concerned about it. I'm more concerned about two things. Number one, are these teachers being paid well? And number two, what is the purpose of education anyway? Why do I ask that question? Because colonial education, hear me, colonial education, this is what this is, it's supposed to teach people how to conform, as opposed to how to basically raise questions, ask questions, push questions.
Transform.
So I just think we really do need to think about the purpose of education and talk about transforming the educational system. That's the crisis, not the teacher shortage. The last thing I would want to talk about would be, two more quick things. I know, top of the news, Mississippi is flooded, and people are being advised to leave the state because it's so bad. If you see the news, you see the street signs, the water is over the street signs. Higher than the street signs. So Mississippi is in crisis, and if you don't believe in global warming, turn on your television and watch what's going on in Mississippi. Now, last thing is abortion, of course. In several states, the trigger ban has gone into effect. This ban was basically after the Supreme Court decided Dobbs, basically overturning Roe versus Wade. Many states had already passed laws that said if the Supreme Court overturns Dobbs, then the trigger, that's the trigger, and when you push the trigger, states say they will basically not they'll outlaw abortion in some cases completely. Nothing, no exceptions for rape or incest or the life of the mother, just no abortion whatsoever. So the states that have now added Texas, Tennessee, and Idaho, and there are 8 other states, but those are the most recent 3. What this means is that a third of all women live in states that outlaw abortion. 1/3 of all women. And so this makes no sense at all. But of course, this is the way that these folks are going. What bothers me the most about this, frankly, is that you say you care about the rights of the child, but you care about the rights of the child till they get here. Then you don't know then you don't want them to eat. So, but this is an issue. It's a very important issue for women not only in terms of bodily autonomy, but what if your life's in danger? What's supposed to happen?
That's right. Yeah.
So this is a problem. I know I have overstayed my time. So
right.
And your granddaughter sounds lovely, and so I'm looking forward to hearing from her. And I'm sure she's as articulate and as valuable as her grandma is.
All right. Well, Lola, did you hear that? Say hi to Dr. Julian.
Hi, Dr. Julian.
Hi, Lola. It's good to hear your voice. Have a great segment.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, Lyndia, next week.
All right. Thank you. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show, and we're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we will be talking to Lola Skydellis. She is Miss Grand Canyon, Arizona, preteen. And so we're so proud of Lola. We'll go to a commercial break and be back in a moment.
She heard my cry for help. If my care coach at AmeriHealth didn't take the time to listen to me, I don't know where I'd be.
What was the turning point for you?
Well, before talking to my care coach, I didn't know that my health plan already had therapists to help me face my depression and anxiety. I had panic attacks all the time. I couldn't put it into words what I was feeling, so nobody could help me. I was just sad all the time. Hearing my care coach say the words, "You are not alone," gave me hope. And she was right. Because of her, now I have a therapist, medicine for my anxiety, and tools for managing my stress. When I didn't see my way out, she was there, and she's never left my side.
At AmeriHealth, you aren't alone. Our care coaches are here for you. Call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Ida B. Wells, born into enslavement, was a journalist and activist. An avid reader, she read through the entire Bible many times. Wells was once asked to leave the ladies' car and sit in the colored train. She refused and train officials pushed her. Ida B. Wells retaliated but was pushed off the train at the next stop. A crowd of whites applauded. She vowed to get even. 3 of her close friends were lynched for opening businesses that cut into profits of whites. Everything changed for Wells. She spoke out internationally against lynching of blacks for the rest of her life. Through her efforts, lynching in America nearly disappeared by the time of her death. An NAACP founder, we salute Ida B. Wells for Women's History Month.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
All right, we are back. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Now I'm going to just dive right in. We're going to be talking to Lola Skydellis. Lola, talk to me about how you happen to be one of the contestants in the Arizona International Pageant.
I was one of the contestants because me and my mom, we decided that we wanted to try something different. We've always been doing like the same stuff every single day. And it was during the summer, of course. And she had a good idea that we should do pageants. And so we both signed up to do it together. And we did new things, we made new friends, and we had brand new ideas.
And you know what? I want to let everybody know why my daughter had that idea. She has served, she has worked with other pageants. When Lola was born here in Washington, D.C., and so was Tanika. They live in Arizona right now. But when Tanika was here, she did some consulting work with the Miss America pageant, New York and Connecticut and other states. And she did the makeup and the hair and had a team. So she was so familiar with it that it came a day when she and Lola decided they wanted to be in a pageant. And they knew the coordinator. And so everything worked out. You know, Scripture says all things work together for the good to them who love God and who are the called according to his purpose. Let's get right into it. You both got accepted. And I want to ask you, how did you feel about walking the runway? Because I know that was not your first time, but it was sort of a big deal. How did you like that?
For me, walking the runway was a little bit scary at first because I didn't know what to expect or where to go, because I might have done pageants when I was younger, but I don't remember doing them. So for me, this was like a very scary feeling, my first run. But my second run, I kind of felt comfortable already because I knew that I could do this. And I just kept believing in me and my mom. And so I think the first time it was a little bit scary. But the second time, it made me feel comfortable.
You mean the first time you came out and then you had to change, and the second time you came out, you were feeling better?
Yep.
Well, I heard Tanika was telling me how you were walking like you have been doing it all your life and doing your twirls and things. So I think it was great. All right, let's talk about your message, body positivity. Now, you're thin. Everybody can see that from the promos that I've done. You're only 11 years old. That's why your title is Miss Preteen. You'll be 12 next year in February. So let's talk about your message on body positivity. Have you had any of your schoolmates talk about you? Let's start about you. Have you had any insults? Sometimes when you're thin like you, some people will try to call you skinny. So have you had that happen?
I've had that happen many, 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 many times.
Oh, my goodness. That many? Tell me how it made you feel, Lola.
It didn't make me feel very great. Like, it made me feel a little bit sad. It made me feel like I should gain weight. But then I realized that I shouldn't let people, like, say that I'm skinny just because they probably want to look like me or they don't feel good about themselves. So I just tried not to worry about it.
Well, I am so happy about that. Let's end our talk today of talking about your message, how you want to help other people. Tell us the story of what your message is when you start to go out. Your mom is going to take you out to some places and let you talk to groups about being positive about themselves. Let's hear your message.
My message is to everyone that body positivity, and I think you guys shouldn't really worry. I think that you guys shouldn't really worry that much about how you guys look or how much you guys weigh, or maybe how much you guys weigh less. I think you should just worry less about it because it shouldn't be a big deal, you guys. I think you all look beautiful just the way you are, and you shouldn't change a thing about yourself. Even if you think, oh, maybe I should gain weight or maybe I should lose weight, I think if you're healthy, I think it's okay. It just doesn't matter what you look like. I really think that everyone should just be happy about themselves just the way that they are.
Okay. And now that is just as long as they're healthy, because sometimes people gain too much weight and they may not be healthy. So have you had any other issues with children at school, like ones that maybe jealousies, or you haven't been able to figure that out yet?
I have figured out that some kids do have jealousy. So from my perspective is that my friends are jealous of my other friends because they think that they're so pretty because they're skinny. But I think that they're just perfect just the way they are.
Mm-hmm. And so what are some of the kinds of problems do they have? They don't do any bullying type things, do they?
No.
Okay, but they say hurtful things?
No, not at all.
They don't say hurtful things to the kids that are overweight or skinny?
They mostly just say it to the kids that are skinny, or in their case, too skinny, but I don't think anyone could be too skinny or too big. I think everyone's just perfect the way they are.
So you think that the people that are the tiny ones get more insults than the fat ones? Is that what you're telling me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means that must upset you, because I know when you were here this summer, you talked about how somebody upset you. I you may not want to talk about it, but I know it was kind of a harsh story that you told me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to talk about it?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have any closing comments? Because I have a couple of announcements I have to announce today before we go off.
I have one closing announcement. Thank you, everyone,
okay.
And I really hope that you all are doing okay, especially because of this COVID thing. And if you ever want to compete, if you guys ever want to compete in a pageant, go to azinternationalpageant.com. And I just want you guys to know you guys don't have to worry about how you guys look or how you guys weigh or how much less you weigh. I think you guys are perfect just the way you are. If you're not healthy, you can always fix that with yourself. It's okay to be big. It's okay to be too skinny. Everybody's just perfect the way they are. Thank you.
All right. I just want to say how proud I am that you won 2 categories. What was the other category? The one that was called the popularity?
That award was called the People's Choice Award.
Yes, she won the People's Choice Award, you all, as well. She got the most votes. Her grandma was pushing. She was the ringleader. I was the cheerleader, right, Lola? Your grandmother was the cheerleader over here, and there was another young lady that usually wins, but my competition, my competitive spirit jumped in, Lola. I'm so sorry. I had to do it. All right. Well, thank you for being my guest today, Lola. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to go ahead and start making my announcements, and thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. I've gotten a couple of announcements I need to get in, and I'm glad to have a little extra time. One announcement, the Friends of the Carter Barron President and CEO Gloria Hightower is hosting a back-to-school event. It's a 2-day fundraiser at the Carter Barron Amphitheater starting tomorrow. The headliner is Rare Essence. It's a go-go weekend. The headliner is Rare Essence and the T.O.B. Band. Tickets are $60 per company. And then on Sunday, she has EU, Experience Unlimited will be there. And Herb Scott, he is an instrumentalist, Herb Scott and Company. The tickets are $75 on Sunday, and they're $60 on Saturday. And it's a fundraiser, and it's a back-to-school event. So I hope that you'll go out and support Gloria Hightower. All right. If you have any questions, you can give her a call at 202-971-2242. And you can also go to Eventbrite. Look for the Go-Go Show at the Carter Barron Eventbrite. All right. My next commercial is I ask that you would join us on Sunday at the All Nations Baptist Church, where our pastor is the Reverend Dr. James Coleman. We are located at number 2 Rhode Island Avenue, Northeast Washington, D.C., or 2001 North Capitol Street, Northeast. We have 2 entrances. The main entrance is number 2 on the front. Look for the church with the red doors. I just want to talk to everybody a little bit about diabetes. Just want to have a couple of extra minutes. I want to remind you that when Dr. Bland was on my show, she talked about how so many more people have gained weight and their A1C has gone up because they lost control while they were at home and didn't really care for themselves properly. So I just wanted to make sure that I encourage you to pay attention to yourself. Love yourself, just like what Lola was talking about. You are good just the way you are, but you can be better if your A1C is up. You have to always eat green leafy vegetables, eat lots of salads, and fresh fruit, but make sure you stay away from those sweet fruits, the ones with lots of sugar. So I wanted to do that in memory of my mom, just to remind everybody to take care and take daily walks, about 30 minutes a day if you can, or 20 minutes, even 10 minutes. All right, I'm going to get ready to close now. Words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. As Earl Nightingale once said, we do become what we think about. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. On this show, we try to make sure that we talk about things that will help you. And then next week, we have our guest is going to be on. Her name is Dr. Jabrilla Ballard Blake. She's a playwright and producer. My friend and former radio show co-host Pat Kennedy gave me her. She has a play that's called Give Your Parents a Standing Ovation for Caregivers of Elderly Parents. She'll be my guest next Friday. And I hope the information that you and that Dr. Julian talked about in politics and Lola talking about love yourself just the way you are because God made us all, I hope that helps and resonates with your spirit. All right. My people perish for the lack of knowledge, so think on these things. From the Lyndia Grant Show, I'm your host, Lyndia Grant. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.